how are you?
Okay, here we go.
Go.
Open your hand.
Cool, cheers, man. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Hello everyone, my name's Matt Lewis.
And I'm Alfina.
And here we are in the room we spend most of our time when we're not busy shooting on a set of Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's right. We've been hanging about in this room for about 10 years. And in that time, some of us have got to discussing what we'd like to do on a film production if we weren't actors.
And this year, some of us have been very lucky to actually get behind the camera and find out exactly what goes on in these other departments. And we thought you'd like to come with us.
That's right. As Dan's always found editing interesting,
he got a chance to spend time with Mark Day, who was the editor for this film and The Order of the Phoenix.
Get out of town.
No, it's true.
No, actually, get out of town. No, leave. No, unfortunately, we need him.
Hello there. How are you, Mark?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yes, very, very well, thank you.
Good to see you.
And thank you for letting me come up here today as well. This is great. It's very exciting for me, actually. OK, so, Mark, what have you been working on today?
Today, I've been working on the library scene, where you talk to Hermione about who you're going to go to the party with.
Now, I do seem to remember in that scene, when Hermione hits me, there was one take when it was very hard.
Yeah.
Actually, have you got that? I'd quite like to see that.
Because you probably haven't seen that.
No, I was concussed, of course.
Okay.
But I am close on one. Kidding. OK, sorry. That really did hurt quite a lot. I'll ask someone I like. You're laughing because you hit me so hard, aren't you? OK. You really can hear the crunch of paper on bone, can't you?
So I couldn't use that one because obviously
I cracked up.
Blimey.
Ooh, maybe she doesn't know her own strength.
Oh, Dan does now.
This is all very fancy here and wonderful. You've got a multicoloured keyboard, for goodness sake. So how long have you been using computers for to edit?
Actually, for about, it's probably about 8 or 9 years now. Every cut that I do, every version of a cut, I can keep. So I can always go back to an old cut.
How do you choose when to cut away from someone? I mean,
yeah, it's just instinct. You can't really teach someone that. Okay. You just look at a scene and you just think about it. You have to kind of feel as though you're the person in the scene and then kind of think, when would I actually want to see the other person for that particular line?
Because that's the thing, in my head, if I was editing a scene, it would just be when one person's talking, you have the camera on.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly dull to watch.
Exactly,
it's
but,
really
but that's how, you know, it evolves, basically. You kind of start off, maybe you start off like that. When I first start a scene, I usually overcut it. And then I'll look at it again. I'll go back and I'll look at
when you say
from the
overcut it,
well, I'll use too many shots because the director will cover a scene multiple angles, as you well know. So then I start paring it down and kind of extending shots.
How different is it to cut a massive action scene, say, like the fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort at the end of the 5th film, and a scene like this where you've got 3 or 4 shots in total?
Sometimes it's actually more complicated because action scenes are really quick. It's just a few frames here, a few frames there, and you just have to keep cutting. And whereas on a dialogue scene, you have to get the nuance of the scene, and that's the tricky thing sometimes. You know, where to go on you for a particular line or not to be on you for a particular line. You know, but editing is very subjective, and so what you may think is a good cut, I may not.
How many times would you see this film?
Oh, man. It's many, many, many times. And that's also quite difficult because you actually have to kind of keep a clear head and look at it from an outsider's point of view as if you're seeing it for the first time, which is quite tricky sometimes because I've seen it 300 times.
At what point would you declare a film was finished? What is the last person to...
Well, we go through various processes where we show the producers, obviously, and they all have their say. You know, so everyone has ideas, obviously, about filmmaking, and that's why it's so interesting being an editor, because you're involved with the whole process of where it evolves over the months and months that you're working on a film of this scale.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Mark.
Well,
thank you.
Nice to see you.
I shall now go and shoot some more material for you.
All right,
thank you.
How about watching the film 300 times?
It almost rivals some of our biggest fans.
Well, you were really lucky, weren't you? You got to go around with Tom and Ollie and check out some of the really cool special effects that they do around the set.
Yeah, that was actually so much fun. I'm really looking forward to watching this. Hi guys, my name's Matt Lewis. I play Neville Longbottom.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I'm one of the better half of the Weasley twins.
My name is Tom Felton and I play Draco Malfoy.
We're here with Mark from the Special Effects Department at Harry Potter, and we're going to be learning about all sorts of things, particularly these cauldrons in front of me. What happens here? Oh, OK. Right, how does that work then?
Try that.
With this?
Yes.
OK. You ready?
Okay.
Ah, it's a simple as that.
It is.
That's very cool.
Just press the red button.
But there's got, I mean, what?
Well, what we've got is we've got a bottle of gas, and we've got a electrically operated solenoid gas valve, which is what you're doing. So you're just simply opening and closing a valve, and then we've got a little tiny piece of fire lighter, which is just going and
that's just sat in there,
to ignite the gas as it comes up.
And it comes.
Yeah, very simple.
The illusion.
Yeah.
What about the knitting needles there?
Okay.
So I'm sure that one now would be interesting.
It took about 2.5 months to make this, get all the movement, and it does work accurately.
It actually knits when you want it.
No,
to.
it won't.
Well,
It pretends to knit.
Sure.
But it's but you could. I think you could get it to knit.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
But it would take a bit more time than the film cycle.
I thought this was all CGI, but it's not at all. I mean,
Well,
you guys,
no, it's not.
you guys actually make these.
Well, it's testament to good work, really.
Absolutely.
Pocket down, you've been painting more than galleons, my friend. We've got eyes in the back of our heads.
Last week we were filming in the Weasley shop, the Weasley Wizards Weasley shop, and there's quite a few good things now.
There's this. So if you open it,
Please, enlighten me. What is that? Whoa! I like it.
Oh, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
it's air operated, so we can put the arrows up your arm.
That looks like a great bit of fun.
Yeah.
Could I possibly have a quick go?
I'm sure you can. Yeah.
Bosh! That was millimetres away. I did notice a lovely notebook here. I was hoping you could talk me through it.
Absolutely.
I believe this is Rita Skeeter's, isn't it?
It is.
Lovely.
I'll show you how it works.
Fantastic, yeah, I'd love to.
The magnets, there's a little magnet on the end of the pen.
Okay, so you just sort of
And
connect
you
that in.
connect it into there.
Yeah, sure.
Hold that.
Yeah, can do.
And you can pop it there.
Okay.
So
Have
you
a go.
push that forward, and it goes along.
Wow.
And then
He's going back in his
and it flicks back like a
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
So how long would this take to construct then?
That was about 3 weeks to make that.
3 weeks, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You're nearly writing a novel there, I think.
Well, thank you so much for this. It's been incredible. It's really opened my eyes to all the stuff you guys get up to. Thank you. We had such a great time learning about all the practical effects there that Tom met up with John Richardson, the special effects supervisor, to discuss some of the effects that were used in the bathroom scene.
So, John, I hear you're the man to ask about the bathroom scene. I'm deadly intrigued now to find out what was involved with that.
Well, we did lots of things, as you no doubt saw, which included lots of warm water.
I dread to think.
About 1,000 gallons of hot water.
Yeah, I can imagine. There was a lot of water on the day. It was very pleasant to be sort of halfway through the scene and all of a sudden you feel this gush of warm water down the back of your neck. Lovely.
Yeah, we could have got down there with you, actually.
Obviously, John, at the end of each take, it's a painful amount of resetting to do. Did you have some pumps?
Well, we had
out?
pumps to get it in and pumps to get it out and dryers to dry it off.
Of course, yeah. I did see the
the
big tubes trying to sort of blow hot air everywhere to try and...
Yeah, we had everything going. It was just a myriad of the usual sort of magic things we do.
Sure.
There was squibs, mirrors breaking, pipes bursting.
Lots of it.
Holes through
How did you
them.
get the mirrors to smash exactly? Because it seemed very, very orchestrated.
Little compressed air devices behind them.
Okay.
And the mirrors were sandwiched in little plastic sheets so that you didn't get bits of mirror flying everywhere.
Okay.
But it was enough to crack it and smash it.
Okay.
But not
to
shatter
throw it everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, very clever. So our safety was
always
paramount. Well, I'm pleased to hear it. Pleased to hear it. John, it was definitely the most memorable scene of my time here. So I thank you for all your hard work and appreciation.
My pleasure. Let's do it again on the next one.
Fingers crossed. Let's do that.
That stuff was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm jealous I didn't get to come with you guys. Looked like you had a lot of fun. But Jessie's also been having a lot of fun. She wanted to find out what it takes to train an owl.
I love owls. They're such wise creatures. They always look so intelligent.
Hi, I'm Jessie Cave. I play Lavender Brown. And I've been given the chance to fly an owl today, or learn to fly an owl, or try to fly an owl. This is Guillaume. And you're an owl expert, aren't you?
Yes, I am owl trainer.
An owl trainer. How many animals are there?
For the owls, we have 27 owls.
Headway. There we go.
How long have you been training owls? And how long do they generally have to be trained for?
I'm training owls, birds, for over 12 years now.
12? Wow.
Yeah, and just for the base, like a bird come to you and make him stay somewhere, you need between 1 month and 3 months.
Okay.
And after, when you train to retrieve things, because owls are not the cleverest animals on the
Really?
world. No.
Are they stupid?
Whoa. Did she just ask if they were stupid? Let's replay that, please.
Are they stupid?
I'm not going to say they're stupid. They're not very clever. And so that take a longer time. And that can take between 6 months and 2 years for a bird to learn properly how to pick up a letter and fly with.
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big job. Yeah.
What about the wise old owl?
Matt, I hate to disappoint you, but owls only look clever.
Up, I give it. She's going. Come on, you.
Okay.
The wing make her fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's very pretty. I'd like to know more about Hootie. All the actors obviously have doubles.
Yes.
Which is quite disconcerting. Does, say, Hedwig have a double?
Yes.
Really?
When we shoot for one animal on a movie, you have minimum 3 animals behind.
Wow.
Because sometimes they can be sick, not feeling very well. Sometimes, if we shoot too long time, the animal can be tired.
So how many hours can Hootie work for before it has to go home?
Or they can do like 10 flies.
Should we get Hootie back over here? Can he come back?
No problem. Put it.
Oh. Wow. Well, thank you very much for telling me all about Hootie. He's been a bit of a hoot.
Despite how wise Matt may think owls are, I hear they don't make very good pets, so none of you get any funny ideas and ask your parents to buy you a pet owl for your birthday.
Anyway, moving on from flying owls to a flying Rupert.
Oh.
How'd you like that segue?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
I really like what you did there.
That's good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rupert Grint, and this are the stunts.
Hi, Rupert. Welcome to the stunt department.
Yeah, cool.
Can you remember what we did in the past when we've been on the trampoline and we've done a little bit of bouncing? We're going to do the same again today, but we're going to put you in a harness, OK? And what that effective does, it gives you more lift and you can hold your position longer.
Cool, yeah, that sounds good.
Are you happy with that, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, in order to prevent very serious injury, first Rupert will have to warm up with the stuntmen.
Warm up? Can't wait to see this.
5 jumps.
Oh, look at that hopping. What grace. Balance.
Put your hands through if you can.
That's incredible. I can do that.
I know for a fact I can't do that.
Feel warm?
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready, yeah.
Right, let's get attached to the harness now. Safety first. We're going to see how well he does catching the ball, being thrown at him at lightning speeds, jumping perilously high.
Big circle.
Oh, and an excellent catch. Look at that. Spectacular. Here comes another. He looks ready. Here we go. Almost in the face. Almost got him in the face. Not so good. Oh, but there we go again.
Smooth.
Make it look easy now.
He's still got enough left to talk as well.
Ron's the keeper in this. I've got to practice all these different saves.
Chest.
Slap down save. That's spectacular over there. That's liquid Quidditch. Oh, God, no, that's got him in the face.
We've got to see the instant replay. Take that back. Oh, right in the face.
Looks great in slow motion.
Oh, he was looking so good up until that point.
Tension. Oh, that's a spectacular flip. I hope people didn't miss that at home. That is liquid trampolining. Is there anything this man can't do?
I don't think so. London 2012, I tell you. It's going to be
Hot
that.
new prospect.
I like this bit of bouncing. I don't know, it's cool.
What an athlete.
I would say that is trampolining genius in action. That expertise is undeniable.
It goes without saying that when a man dedicates himself to being the best, there's nothing he can't achieve.
True. When he did that amazing save with his face, he just kept calm and carried on.
It was a mark of a real pro, it really was.
Absolutely.
Well, let's just relax as we catch up with Ivana, who sat down with Gianni Tamin to discuss Harry Potter wardrobe.
What? No clever segue?
I'm too tired, man.
Gianni, she's a costume designer. Can you describe what your day is like in costume?
I read the script and then I try to think about it and I try to design a costume for every character who is written in the script and the crowd as well.
Even the extras and everyone?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has to wear something that we have been thinking about before.
Yeah.
Because they have to fit in the world of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And they have to make a little ensemble who give the magie to the film.
Oh. When you meet the actors, do you ever change it? Your
Yes, I
costumes
do.
a bit?
Because you can conceive something But then when you see it on somebody, or when you see the personality of somebody, then of course you have to adapt it to their personality. Like when I met you, I knew that you were going to bring to the costume so much more, because first you had your own ideas about what you wanted to wear, and also because your physical character, your long blonde hair, your tiny size, it was something that we could adapt to the costume to make it even more beautiful or more convincing.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite costume to design?
Well, I really think that your character is a very interesting character because you are sort of, I'm not saying you are mad, but you are full of fantasy, and that's always nice to do.
Fun,
And this year we had your Christmas dress was going to look like a Christmas tree, and it was wonderful to design, and also because you enjoyed that dress very much. It was quite a challenge to make a dress which was that mad and at the same time that pretty. Because you do look very pretty in it. And when we made that dress, we were thinking about all the jewelry that you will wear with it. And then you decided to tell me about it, because that's such a lovely story.
Everyone thinks it's a reindeer, though, so you can call it whatever, but it's actually her hair for her Patronus.
Was it difficult to make? Because you made also last year for us your radishes. So you make your little radishes, and they were so much more beautiful than ours, so we kept yours, and you make your ring as well.
Yeah.
But
it's just
how long it takes you to make that?
Maybe about 45 minutes. Like, the thing is, you don't have to get it perfect because it's Luna, you know, she's random, she's arty, and she doesn't want it to be like,
so you want to tell me that if it was not for Luna, you will have made it better than that?
Perhaps.
I don't believe you, because I think it's so perfectly made. It's lovely. And also what's nice is that in the construction where we put it, you have the feeling that he's running, that he's jumping.
Yeah, but
and that's
had
really
this
nice.
idea with the ribbon. I thought
Yes, let me see it on your waist. Oh, look at that. Look at that. He's moving. Whoop, he's jumping. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you did such a great job with that. I was very proud of you.
Thanks. And thanks for talking to me, Johnny, and explaining all about the costume. And
yeah, it was a pleasure.
Okay.
And next year we're going to have even more beautiful costume for you.
Yeah.
Wow, well, Ivana's certainly pretty handy with those beads.
Yes, Alfie, they are little pieces of art. And speaking of art, let's see what Bonnie's been doing, because she spent some time in the art department.
Ah, brilliant.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Ryan. I play Ginny Weasley, and besides acting, one of my favourite passions is art. So I'm here in the art department to show you around kind of all the different things that they've been making. All of these props are from the Weasley Wizarding Wheezes. In the graphics department, they've kind of designed all specific product names that they've been coming up with for like the whole film. One of my favourite ones is all the love potions. This one's called Twilight Moonbeams. They've all got really weird, mad names that we're looking on set. I spent a lot of time, about a week, in the art department. Some of the things that I was doing was help decorate the Weasley house, which was quite fun to do, as kind of it's meant to be all homemade, and I was actually making it. It was quite weird. When we were in the scene, I was looking around. I was like, oh, I did that. This is Eduardo, who's a graphic designer. Hi, we're wondering if you could show us all your amazing things.
Yes. Now, some of the products, like the decoy detonator, nose-biting teacup, they come from the book. J.K. Rowling. She did that. But the majority of the products this year we have to come up ourselves.
Did you spend a long time thinking of all different names?
Yes, but like more than 300 names.
Oh my God.
And we have to clear every single name before we do the design.
How many things did you actually have to make of each? Were there so many?
I think it was at least 100 of each product.
So how long did it take?
Varies, but I think more or less 3 to 4 days and 5 days until you show everyone and everyone approves.
Yeah. Do you do all of it kind of by hand, or do you do it on the computer?
We tend to do a little bit by hand and computer, but the computer is the primary thing.
The Quibbler magazine. There's so many details kind of within the books. Do people get to see it all?
No, but I think this is a kind of Harry Potter thing, and Stuart, he's really good on that, and everyone just follow him. And Stephanie, everything is so detailed. So it's already now a mind that everything needs to be
not kind of empty books.
No,
I can see now that there's so many different things in the film industry that I don't think people really realise are here.
Oh, well, there's so many talented people working behind the scenes to make Harry Potter look as good as it does. And I mean the films, by the way, not Dan. He doesn't need any talented people for that.
Well, in fact, one of our very own co-stars has joined the ranks of those working diligently behind the camera.
Yeah, that's right, actually. James has been trying his hand as an assistant director. Or is it a production assistant?
Well, it's more floor runner, really. But, I mean, you call him whatever you want. We're going to see how he's getting on.
Hi, I'm James Phelps. You may know me as Fred Weasley in the Harry Potter series. However, on this film, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I decided to change the glamorous order in front of the camera to behind the camera, take part in the AD department. So I'm going to show you around and what I do. AD stands for Assistant Directors, so we're basically the go-betweens for every other department and make sure the actors are happy, make sure they're all on set on time, make sure every crew that needs to be told where they need to be are where they need to be at the time, making the whole studio pretty much work for the film. I think it's personally one of the most important departments going. Just because the AD department, you get to see everyone, every department working, you get to know every department's characteristics and what they do.
They're filming behind the scenes of the day in the life of James, which that's ultimately cringeworthy for him, because of course ADs don't get filmed. So I feel very sorry for him today, to be fair, but very funny nonetheless. I'm having a good giggle.
I haven't actually had to make my brother happy while ADing, because luckily I've been acting at the same time as he has, so I put back on the actor side of things and get things done for me. However, when I am running, I have to obviously go and make certain members of the cast cups of tea, get them drinks, get them sweets, you know, all that kind of stuff. Which is quite, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but it's quite different doing what we used to get other people to do on previous films.
Yeah, I once asked James to get me a skyhook. Didn't see him for 5 hours.
What's a skyhook?
Exactly.
Joker.
You know, Rupert and Matt do like to try and make me do a lot more than I maybe should.
I've made some quite ridiculous requests, I suppose.
James, you wouldn't mind getting me a drink there, please? Or, you know, it has to be done.
We've all given a fair amount of stick, I think. Rightly so. He's a traitor. He's betrayed the cast. Must be punished for that.
No, James has been he's been a valid member of the cast for a while, and now his brother Oliver's doing the ADing. It's really nice to have him on set, really. It's a shame James can't be here more, because I've really grown in, like, close with Oliver over the months, and it'd be good to see James when he comes back filming.
The thing that we like to do to pass the time, even though we're not really supposed to, is race the golf buggies that we have here. The smaller ones are pretty slow, so my favourite is normally this big one, which is quite quick. We've got a nice causeway here. It's quite a nice little racetrack, so, yeah, I'll see you later.
He's actually incredibly professional about the whole thing. I thought he'd be sort of messing around thinking it's all right, I'm an actor as well. But he's not, he takes his job incredibly seriously.
Pretty good at it, very organised and stuff and telling you what to do.
I think it's great that he's actually trying to do something else and not just resting on laurels and just acting and stuff. I think it's great.
This is David Yates' chair, who's the director. So this is probably the most important chair on the set. So it has to be clean and ready to be used at all times. Next to his is Bruno, who's the director of photography. He's the second most important person on the set, as he's in charge of lighting the set. 2 very important chairs, guided by a very important member of the crew. No, sorry, Paul, thank you. Yeah, cover, I'm coming in now. I've just been called off to work back on set. But, you know, hope you enjoyed my showing you around the other side of the camera. You've seen the glamorous side that the actors have. This is where the real work gets done. So thank you very much and have a good day.
Matt to Alfie, I think it will be fun to talk on these all the time. Over.
Yep, this is Alfie to Matt. I think it would actually get quite boring after a while. Over.
You think? Over?
Yeah, it's starting to get boring already. Let's just stop. Yes, this is Alfie to Matt. It's starting to get boring already. Let's stop it. Over.
OK, over now.
Immature, honestly. Well, Emma's the last one up, and she chose to speak with Amanda Knight, who's the head of makeup for all 6 of the Harry Potter films we've had so far.
Hello, I'm Emma Watson, and I'm here at Leavesden with Amanda, who is our chief makeup artist and has been since film 1, so from the very beginning. We're going to do a
dark mark,
aren't we?
We're going to do a very quick transfer dark mark. It's very simple. Put it on, and we spray it with water, and hopefully it comes out. Obviously, Emma doesn't normally have a dark mark because she's not a Death Eater.
I'm on the right side. There we go.
Ta-da.
Ow. There you go.
That's my dark mark.
Dark mark. Meant to be going out for dinner tonight. Might cover that up.
Those look really cool. It's a shame we didn't get to wear those.
I wanted to find out for ourselves. So I managed to get the stuff we need to have a go with the tattoos.
Right, come on, I'll go first.
Right, OK. I think I know what I'm doing here. Do I just pop it on there?
No, you got to peel it off first.
Peel it off. Yeah, it's fine. So now I just dab it.
Yeah. I thought you knew what you were doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, don't be so bossy.
Be careful.
I am being careful. Look at this. This is wonderful. I've got the touch. It's going to look great.
What is that?
Not as good as I'd hoped.
It's supposed to be easy.
Yeah, I know, but it's not.
Amanda, what was your biggest makeup challenge this year?
I would say Tattoo Man, which has been thrown into us at the last minute. We had to adapt the design slightly. Some of them we had to hand draw on, so that was the final result.
That's absolutely incredible. How long does it take it to do?
It took 4 makeup artists, probably 5 hours.
I think one of my funniest moments on this film was Dan and Rupert, who kind of played a trick on me, which was that in Nocturne Alley, which is kind of like the dodgy area of Diagon Alley, and they just said, Emma, go and take a look in that shop window. So I went and pulled back the curtain, and there was this man. And what I thought, at a brief glance, was basically practically naked and just covered in tattoos, just sat there in this chair in this, like, tattoo parlour in Diagon Alley. And my face, because Dan and Rupert obviously knew how I was going to react, we both just sat there just laughing at me. It was quite embarrassing.
Well, I think we can give Tattoo Man a run for his money, eh?
You look ridiculous.
Says you.
I don't look ridiculous. Don't know what you're on about.
This is quite embarrassing, but we were, well, I mean, I was 9 when I first auditioned. I was probably about 10, 11 when we first started filming. And I remember
an emergency phone call saying that you'd lost a front tooth.
Yeah, it was one of these very, very front teeth. And I had to wear a kind of like a
little piece,
like
with a tooth.
Yeah. How embarrassing is that? This was something that Amanda made me for my 18th birthday. And you very sweetly, she got everyone to write me a little message. But what's really interesting is what's on the other side, which is the continuity photographs from the very, very first film. So this is what we all used to look like, and it's absolutely hysterical if you just look like, if I look at my hair, look how pale. And Bonnie, and Tom, Jamie, Josh.
This is how I first remember you, coming in for your screen tests.
So weird.
And Rupert.
Very strange.
And Dan, look at them all.
I think it's Rupert and Matt who've changed the most.
Yes.
That's so embarrassing. My eyes aren't even open in that picture.
What are you talking about?
The picture Emma just showed. My eyes are closed.
But we're meant to be saying our goodbyes now. I don't think it matters. Just say goodbye to the people.
Yeah, but I'm always going to be remembered now as the bloke who had his eyes closed on Emma's birthday card.
It doesn't really matter. I'm sure you'll get over it, yeah? Plus, nobody would have noticed if you hadn't pointed it out just now.
Oh, great.
Honestly, come on, let's say goodbye, yeah?
Bye.
Bye. You can do better than that. That was flat. Come on, get some energy. Do you need a moment?
OK, no, it's fine.
Let's do it.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
Much better.
Thanks. Alfie to Matt, I think we should talk like this all the time. Over.
Alfie to Matt, I'm Alfie and you're Matt.
Dedicated. He's always bringing me down. I think we give look at me like that. Game face on. Oh, blimey. I'm trying to talk. Yes, he has.
Was a little bit of a... Sorry.
That was so good. I just stumbled on the word. This has got to stop.
It's a very tense time in the wizarding world. There was a denial that Voldemort even existed anymore because he was supposed to be dead. There was no chance that the Dark Lord could re-emerge and threaten the wizard world and the Muggle world. And we discover at the end of Order of the Phoenix that he's definitely back. And so the beginning of Half-Blood Prince is cloaked in this tension of not knowing when the Dark Lord will appear and who's going to strike first. So everyone finally acknowledges that Voldemort is back.
This is scene 3 of the movie, and it's to show that the Death Eaters are very much still around, and the first thing that they do is collapse this beautiful bridge. We wanted to find an iconic London landmark that we could really make very bad things happen to. And the Death Eaters attacking the Millennium Bridge seemed to be something that could become an iconic moment. It's a combination of live action and background plates, both from the air and from the ground and from various heights.
Removing the closure now. That's our first helicopter run done. Our next one.
We coordinated with David Yates, the director, and also with the production department on the second unit. He says what he wants, and then we try to achieve that. And we coordinate very closely with the visual effects department. It's very political, flying low in the center of a big city. And there's a lot of worry about safety, of course, and also nuisance to the public. So we absolutely minimize the amount of time we're down at low altitude. So we're using a Eurocopter twin-scroll helicopter. That's a safety issue, really. We want an extra engine to protect us, give us better performance, and also to protect us in case something fails. And we're using a Westcam gyro-stabilized camera system with a Mitchell camera and a long 10:1 zoom lens to be able to get closer to the bridge.
Got it. Okay, we've got it.
And we transmit the signal of what we're filming by microwave to the ground, so the second unit director and the visual effects people can see instantaneously what we're doing. And they explain what we want, we explain what our limitations are, and we come to a solution that keeps it safe.
We're on the north side of Millennium Bridge here. This side of the bridge is covered by the City of London Police. The south side of the bridge is covered by the Metropolitan Police. And we're two distinct forces, police forces, and we've just been asked to come down here and assist with crowd control as necessary, and to help with closing the bridge when the filming is taking place.
Potentially it's restrictive, but on a movie like Harry Potter, there's a huge force of collaboration that seems to occur, and the location department do an amazing job. People from many different agencies working together to make the day work. The Port of London Authority, the City of London, the police, Westminster, the South Bank authorities, the Tate Modern, the general public. It's been an amazing day of multi-agency collaboration.
In this sixth film, we went to a variety of locations, in part because David was very big on authenticity and reality, and also in part connecting with today. And he enjoys being out there in the real world. He thinks it helps bring a certain verisimilitude to the piece. But also, quite frankly, there's only so much we can fit within these stages. They've been very generous to us. They're fantastic spaces, but we need more locations. So we went to various cities and places to film.
Since the story is set in a slightly parallel universe to our own, it's a slightly heightened world based on the world that we know. So we can do location filming, but also it's just a bit ridiculous to try and build every set. So we've been to Gloucester Cathedral, that's got things that we couldn't really build. And to Durham Cathedral, where we've been before. We've been down to Lacock because we needed a really sort of charming, quintessentially English village. And it works beautifully on screen.
There's some good little outings there, really. I think the crew enjoy it enormously, going out on location. As a design thing, I think the real world is potentially dangerous. It's full of extraneous things that you don't really need.
This is 5 feet. Could be safe. Yeah. For this sequence,
I find myself tending to strip things away, and also to make it more theatrical.
Continuous, yeah.
And I think if you stay and build things in these stages, everything is of your choosing. So it's a mixed thing. It's a pleasure to go, but there are design issues. I think Joe Rowling recognises that everybody in a certain degree is fallible, and the thing for anybody is to try and lead a good life. And ultimately, Slughorn is this man with a terrible secret. He gave the young Voldemort some information which has allowed Voldemort to gain such a purchase on power. And Slughorn is partly responsible for that by giving him this piece of information. And I think Slughorn is basically saying, look, I was fallible. My vanity and my pride and my fear meant ultimately that I was foolish enough to give this information. That notion that we have choices throughout our lives, to lead a good life or to take the wrong turn, I think is a constant in the books and is a constant in these films.
Jim Broadbent was the newest addition to our acting troupe, and he is the perfect Slughorn.
What you see before you, ladies and gentlemen, is a curious little confection.
I've worked with David before and have good communication, and we had a few conversations about different types of teachers and the character and his vulnerabilities and his strengths and all those sort of character things, which is David's very good at, homing in on the essentials of a character and giving you an area in which you can build a character.
453, take one.
I think Slughorn as a character is someone who people nowadays will be able to see a lot of the world around him, because he's obsessed by celebrity and he's obsessed with the idea of sort of reflected glory, and all his former students who've gone on to great things, he has pictures of them on his wall. Any of the other ones who didn't do anything particularly spectacular, he discards, you know, he doesn't care about them. So he's totally mercenary like that, but at the same time there's something quite charming about him, because he's very vulnerable. You know, he's not like the first time he was at Hogwarts when he was kind of in his prime.
Here you are, Potter. To life.
When I first read the book and then the script, even though Jim isn't physically as Joe describes Slughorn, he knows that character inside out, and I knew his capacity for both comedy and for pathos would absolutely bring so much to the table for Slughorn.
I carried on down. I turned around to see my chap, and he was still at the top of the hill.
And he comes up with such witty, interesting, odd, crazy things sometimes. And Jim can take a fairly benign line and he can elevate it into something that is purely comic, which I really love.
The Three Broomsticks and I go way back, further than I'd care to admit. I remember when it was called the One Broomstick. Whoop.
One of the big themes is friendship and the boundaries of friendship, and what you get from your friends, and how your relationships with your friends evolve and change over time, and how friendship is often as special as any other kind of relationship. The key thing, obviously, is it's about growing up and discovering the world, and discovering the boundaries of the world and the limits of the world, and the way the world can become quite complex, and that's continued even more in this story. Sixth Story really deals with the relationships a lot, with Rupert and his first relationship with Lavender Brown, so it's got lots of sexual and emotional politics, which is really good. So we're seeing the characters we love discovering much more profoundly the opposite sex.
Apparently it's his lucky day. The romance and everything that is in the film is very, very strong. It does set the tone as being sort of more mature from the word go, I think, this time around.
It's much more of a romantic comedy. It's much more about relationships and the trials and tribulations of love.
Harry sort of has a crush on Ginny. Ginny's going out with Dean Thomas, but she sort of likes Harry, and they can't really tell each other what they feel. Similarly, Ron likes Hermione, Hermione likes Ron, but again, neither of them can really express themselves. So it leads to many comic mishaps and plenty of romantic awkwardness, something that we all can relate to in some form or another.
It's just enormous fun. And actually it has the best of what the books have, I think, in the sense that it's great fun one minute, incredibly intense the next, and very moving the moment after that. It has all these gear changes.
It's a film filled with humanity, compassion, great relationships, and also some great sort of scary and exciting scenes. It's a story that I think is incredibly moving, very romantic, very tender, and filled with emotion.
And action. Both cameras on one at a time.
Roll camera.
And then everyone goes, it's going to get a big blast of something going up, and assuming.
And I think these films, with the amount of visual effects and the length of the shooting schedule, complexity of the stories, they're huge, huge things for a director. Most of them get to the end and think, oh, that was brilliant, but now I need a rest. And David Yates got to the end and thought, that was great, I'd love to have another go.
Let's check the gate, guys. Very good.
Check it a gate, check it a gate.
I loved working with David on the 5th film. Was just the best experience I've had on any of the films. So the fact that he came back for the 6th film is remarkable.
It was difficult to resist coming back. 5 is quite intense and emotional and wrought, and 6 is actually quite a lot more playful.
And if we can feel it collectively, then we might get something special this evening. So you have to all start tuning in and making it quite real.
I had so much fun making The Order of the Phoenix. Such a lovely bunch of people, not just the producers in the studio, but Dan, Rupert, Emma. Just show me that look.
And he's still got the same energy, the same vibrancy, and he's just a joy to work with. Every time I get on set, I look forward to seeing him, because he's got a genuine enthusiasm about him, which is really great.
There was a real family atmosphere making these films, and also I just felt I had more business to do here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to film it like a documentary.
Collapsing.
It was an interesting feeling, because book 5 leading to book 6, there are all sorts of links through. I just felt I hadn't quite done everything I wanted to. Not just for me as a storyteller, but also with the actors. I wanted to see them play more comedy, because we didn't get that much of a chance at comedy in 5. 5 was all about the trials and tribulations of learning how complicated the world is. Whereas 6, I mean, it's got its intensities and its dark moments, but it's actually quite fun. And I really wanted the opportunity to work with them again and to have not just fun behind the cameras with them, but also fun on screen. And that's what 6 is offering.
Having David back was great. I mean, he is a formidable director. The variety and depth of his talent is immeasurable. And what I love most is that the most important thing for him in all the films, besides telling a good story, is the humanity and the characters. And I think he draws sides out of actors that I have never seen before. And that was really exciting. And I think you see things in Dan, Rupert and Emma, not to mention Michael and the others that we haven't seen in previous Harry Potter films. He's a great director, and I feel really thrilled that he's back.
Yes!
Yes!
Bang on! It's Don Medvedev.
One of the first memories that Dumbledore shows Harry is that of when Dumbledore met Tom Riddle, who went on to become Lord Voldemort. Dumbledore met Tom Riddle at Wool's orphanage, and you see Dumbledore going up to see him, and Tom is very young, you know, he's around 10 years old, and we see him seated in a corner, and they have a conversation, and Tom talks about how he's different. That's fine, you know, Dumbledore's different too, and that's a form of connection. But the key is really what you do with your difference, and what choices you make.
Before we build things, we do a bit of research, and there's usually something that we find that sparks an idea, that gives us a direction. So for Wool's Orphanage, we found the most amazing building in Docklands, Liverpool, red brick Victorian building, which was really quite sort of brutal, but in an interesting kind of architectural way with classical allusions and so on. So this is based on that. In front of the building. The gateway here is a kind of echo of David Lean's Oliver Twist. Starts with the girl crossing the moor, pregnant Oliver's mother, and then going into the workhouse, in fact, and there's this creaky old metal sign. So this is a little bit of homage to David Lean up there. And the interior is this Victorian glazed tile because it had good, long-lasting cleaning properties. No detail, really, very simple. It's a very distinctive look and a good, oppressive, dark look, I think. We now have a stock London street on the back lot here at Leavesden, so this represents our stock street. Well, actually, we have half a permanent street. We have that side of the street, and we use that side, as modern films do, to create this side. It's visual effects, it's a digital set extension. The orphanage is situated at the end of a rather derelict street, in the middle of all this admittedly dilapidated but rather refined London Georgian architecture. So Wool's Orphanage, it's not a warm and friendly place. It's really quite brutal. So it stands out in a really striking, iconic way.
I was very much excited about Ron's scenes with Lavender because I took a fair bit of stick when I kissed Katie in the last film, so it was time for revenge this time round.
Daniel Radcliffe was definitely there. His presence was known on the kissing scene day. I think he even came back when he wasn't on camera just to be there.
You know, I took days to calm down. I don't think Rupert had done a kissing scene, and that was entirely new territory for him.
Well, he was actually quite lucky because when he did his scene, he was on his own. He was just him and Katie. This time in the scene, it's pretty packed, so a little bit more embarrassing, I think. But I just said it to try and get over it. Yeah.
It was really nice to see Ron's first kind of experience of this girl and having a kiss. I wasn't really aware of the fact that there would be around 70 or 80 extras. But actually, I think that probably made it easier.
It's just such a weird sort of thing. You've got everyone watching you, and it just doesn't feel very sort of natural.
For me, the only awkward part was the rehearsal where it was just me, David, and Rupert. And so that was way more intimate than this kind of scene of all these people. This cheering noise going on. So I don't think how happy Rupert was about it, but I think it went okay. I hope it went okay. I was more concerned anyway about honestly chipping a tooth. I really was worried.
The Burrows has appeared before in Harry Potter 2, and it's this very eccentric house, and Arthur Weasley has built this huge extension, not laterally but vertically. The house is a tower with bits of old stained glass window, odd doors, the wood of all different sections, all different sizes, and it's highly sort of personal and homemade. And that tower looks great in a completely flat landscape in a marsh with this extraordinary noise of this long swishing reed, and for the arrival of the Death Eaters.
In the second unit, we've spent 4 or 5 nights out on the back lot.
Action!
Chasing through these wonderful sort of maze of reeds. It is a beautiful, eerie sequence. And one thing David is very keen on is giving the reeds a characteristic, a dimension, a darkness of their own. And it's very, very scary, the sense of being lost in these reeds and just hearing the wind in the reeds and finding these characters all looking for each other, all lost, and realising that they're going to be attacked any moment.
Harry?
We have set the Burrows house on fire using a full-size set and on a model. We've also set the ring of fire around the house, which is about 420 feet, so it's a long ring of fire in terms of getting it there and controllability. So it's been a bit of a learning process for all concerned.
We also spent a few days down in Dorset at a place called Abbotsbury, where there's a wonderful reed bed on the edge of Chesil Beach. And we did helicopter attacks on where the Weasley house would be there, and we did lots of plate shooting, so we can create the whole sort of horizon and environment around the house later on in visual effects.
Then to tie in with the visual effects, we've got to do lots of elements of rolling fireballs and that sort of thing. We've been able to improve, build and grow with fires and flambeaux, and at the same time the visual effects technology has improved as we've moved along. So the fact that we are able to do all these things and composite it together better, I think has improved every aspect of the Burroughs house.
Action!
Cut. Straight away. Keep the red up. Straight away. One more.
Yeah. It was actually the first scene I filmed, so I think that added to the kind of build-up of what it was to be like. But I think it's difficult to kind of prepare yourself because you'll never know what it's like until it's over.
That was kind of odd, because when Katie Leung as Cho was cast, she was brought in, and we were already aware she ultimately was the love interest. Whereas Bonnie, it was kind of odd because I've known Bonnie since she was about 10, so it's a bit weird doing all that, but it's fine.
Let's roll, please.
Victor 54, take 1.
But I think the first time is always the worst, but after that it's just like any other scene that you're filming, so it was actually easier than I realised as it went on.
3 on the end.
I think at first, when everyone comes in and have a look at the scene, you know, lighting or the crew, it's a bit embarrassing, but I think after a while, you just got to accept it and get on.
The key is just connecting with them.
Sure. I think people, they want to tease you, but then they don't really want to make you really more and more awkward about it. So I think people were quite relaxed. I think it's also something that's quite hard to bring up to someone, because you don't really want to make them more awkward than they probably already are.
I think everyone's tried to be kind about it because it's embarrassing enough, or it's difficult enough as it is. Dan's known Bonnie for a long time, and then having to kind of kiss someone, it's quite a weird thing to have to do, so I think everyone's kind of tried to cut each other some slack and just kind of give everyone the space to kind of try and do a good job, I think.
I was talking with other people about kind of all those different things, you know, eat loads of garlic and fish and different things, but I think that's really cruel, so I did opt for that one.
A new one, because this one is dead, but he's essentially, it's the same character and he looks essentially the same. Although we've upgraded him a little. The aquatronic we built for Chamber of Secrets was a latex and polyfoam thing.
You're Aragog, aren't you?
Yes. I wanted him to have that same quality, and so we went with a solid polyurethane. It does produce a translucent quality, like a dead insect, whereby you can see an understructure through the surface. Because we wanted this translucent surface, we had a team of people who were literally just filling the moulds after it was sculpted and moulded. And there were sort of 4 or 5 people just continuously producing the pieces. Once you produce them, you then have to artwork them. So we were airbrushing a colour scheme into this polyurethane. We were also flocking it in places, whereby we can put a nice fuzz into places and direct where this fuzz goes. But then we had 6 or 7 people who had to sit there and put in all these large spider hairs, one at a time, with needles, over the whole spider. And of course, we had to build the spider in 2 scales as well, because any interaction with Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid, you have to resize everything he's in contact with. So there is a smaller scaled spider as well. So it was a huge amount of work. And when you see 16 spider legs all in a row and you know that you've got to punch hair into all of them, it's a little daunting. We had a team of people just doing hair for weeks.
How do we same just with one as with
It obviously isn't cheap to construct a spider like that, but it's also incredibly expensive in CG. And I always fight the corner to do it practically if it makes sense. So it was a trade-off. I mean, as all these things, it's the cost, the ease of use on set, how much reference does it provide? You know, does it give something to the actors that couldn't handle if it's not there? Because when you build creatures like that, very often even just an inanimate object like that can have a, you know, a little emotive moment, which is nice. But because Hagrid literally has to push him in, we had to make him so heavy because he had to move as something that heavy would move. He needed, you know, dead weight. So we ended up building a very, very strong, heavy
version that weighed 3/4 of a ton and moved beautifully and landed in the pit and survived. So we were happy with that and went along, and it was very successful.
Goodbye, friend of Hagrid.
In every one of these, there's a big challenge. In this case, I think it's that underground cave where they find the Horcrux.
And action.
We did a lot of research. We considered fairly conventional rock formations. We looked at stalactites and stalagmites and limestone caves that they occur in. I felt after a while that that was territory that had been explored before. It was fairly familiar. So we explored the crystal cave idea and went to a quartz crystal cave in Switzerland, which was beautiful. Then we went to a salt crystal cave in Germany, outside Frankfurt. So that became the inspiration for our set, and we then produced various concept images with enlarging these crystals and different formations. And that seemed even more relevant somehow. I'd also remembered the Cliffs of Moher in the west of Ireland, off County Clare. And although I hadn't been there on this film, kind of had the almost certain knowledge that that would prove to be the most spectacular place in these islands, that we could actually stage that scene, the entrance, where Dumbledore and Harry apparate to, that would give us the entrance to the cave. And this salt crystal interior somehow seemed to fit with the geology of the Cliffs of Moher. There's a danger in something that's completely fantasy, a completely fantasy world. The danger is that you kind of lose any reference to reality, and the whole thing becomes so extraordinary and out of touch with anything real. So the challenge was with the interior cave was to have something that was credible. The next essential part of the concept is how big is this thing, and we decided it is absolutely enormous, you know, some 2,000 feet long. And so absolutely no possibility of building that physically. So it's a CG set, therefore, virtual set, designed in the computer. On Harry Potter 5, we had our first totally virtual set. So, you know, this was, with more confidence we approached this one.
This Harry Potter probably has the same number of visual effects as most of the other films, but the visual effects are more blended into the scenes. They're not as obvious. We're using visual effects throughout the whole film to sort of enhance environments, to put actors who were shot on blue screens into environments that hopefully you won't really be aware of. It was really a challenge to make something invisible, where, you know, we had to build a whole environment. I think the cave sequence was always going to be the biggest challenge in the film.
Action!
There were a lot of discussions about what the cave itself should look like. David Yates was very great about really trying to express to us the feeling he was trying to get out of the sequence, really trying to get it to be very scary, very nail-biting. So we took all of his guidance and we tried to form the sequence around that.
The first challenge with the environment was the cave is a very dark, cavernous region, absence of all light. The only light that is present is from the lumos, from the wands, and then whatever flares are emitted from Dumbledore and Harry's wand that go out and search. Because the cave was a crystalline structure cave, it involved a lot of technical challenges. And so this is one of our initial tests with trying to see how the crystals reacted to the light raking across, because this flare would constantly travel around, and so it wasn't a static lighting scenario for the set. It was constantly changing, very dynamic. Something as vast as a cave, 2,000 plus feet large, you have trouble refracting and ray tracing that large of an environment. So we had to figure out a way to break it up in sections and handle the rendering efficiently. And then this is a shot that basically shows the cave in all its glory from about as wide of a camera view that we were able to get in the sequence, and it shows off a lot of interesting detail just in the cave itself.
When we did the cave sequence, it was about 150 shots all strung together. So at the end of our work, we actually had a whole sequence that we can take a look at. It is a contained sequence. There's no shots where there's not visual effects in them. So we were just kind of dressing the cave to each shot to try to get good composition with it.
We learned more than we ever knew about caves and crystals and how large they could get and the light properties that happened in those instances. They had actually built a full-scale wall, just a section, a column actually, to represent how they wanted the strata to be, because it was a very particular sense of order that they wanted to it rather than just a haphazard granite-type structure. We use that as a rough template to then propagate out to the rest of the cave.
We wanted to realise an environment through Stuart Craig's vision that would be spectacular, but also very spooky and very dark and moody. So I think creating all of those sort of types of effects, you know, really is the joy of contributing to the film.
It's pretty rare that we actually end up getting to where the artwork is, because it tends to be extremely difficult to achieve some of that complexity. And I think we got it in that case, so I was really happy with that sequence. We have a creature called the Inferi in the sequence. They're sort of tortured souls that Lord Voldemort has stuck in the cave and has left there. And David Yates was very explicit about having them not feel like they're zombies. Actually, he wants you to feel actually bad for them. And what they're trying to do is really is sort of draw Harry in. And during the sequence, Harry actually gets pulled in underwater, and the Inferi grabs him and starts sort of drowning him and dragging him down. That whole moment of him going into the water and getting pulled down is more of like an embrace rather than trying to, you know, attack him or eat him or something like that.
It was more about making a believable story, because ultimately they were victims of Voldemort. They weren't there because they were killers themselves. So all of the visual effects people involved were careful that they were not making a sort of gory type horror film.
The design itself is difficult that way because they do look very emaciated and very skinny. They're basically skeletal creatures, so the action and the animation tells the story that these aren't zombies. The design started in London, and they started sending us lots of reference photos, some artists that had done some interesting sculptures. Then they started actually building a sculpture over there, a maquette, which was life-size of one of these Inferi. They got to a certain point in that sculpt, sent us pictures of that, and then we additionally did some artwork along with that to start defining things like hands, various heads, different hairstyles, because there's so many of them. We build one maquette, we really have to change that up and make it look different. It was kind of a collaborative effort with them to give us the look, and then we went in and modified faces, height, shape, that type of thing with the Inferi. I think ultimately, and what's really interesting about this director is that he always goes more for realism. So we basically just went to the track of just try to make them look as human as possible. And in a way, that's almost scarier, because then hopefully you're actually believing that these things are crawling out of the water rather than making it some kind of weird creatures.
We referenced a lot of prison camp type survivors where they're very emaciated and they've been sort of tortured by their environment. It was some difficult reference to look at, but it definitely served in creating a look for these characters as well as sort of being ominous. They needed to not just be intimidating or scary, but they also need to be kind of sympathetic and tragic.
In the movie itself, the Inferi are fully computer generated, but they're based upon actions and the facial reference capture that they did in London, as well as our motion capture here. For their actual acting or action, they hired some actors, and the director had these actors go through various poses, maneuvers, and just expressions. Once we had that, we then additionally here at ILM did a bunch of motion capture, because our animators actually wanted to control all of those rather than going for a crowd pipeline. So our animators went down to our motion capture stage and actually did a bunch of acting, and then we brought those in and put them onto the Inferi. For me and for the team, it was the most complex work that they've given us, and I kind of feel like they really entrusted us with a nice sequence, you know, pretty major to the book. and we loved it. We loved working on it.
It was important for Dan to have someone to hold him so he could act again. So we worked with the idea that we'd have an actor under the water in a green suit who could wrestle and fight with him so that Dan could deliver the performance that David wanted, and also the actor could restrain him sufficiently so that he could sort of submerge and be pulled down underwater. We've replaced the actor holding Dan with a CG female in furry specifically designed for this task. And we used a lot of facial reference that we shot ourselves, which we had David Yates direct, so that we could capture a performance of the actor who was going to play this particular inferi and then map that performance onto the CG inferi's face so that we had exactly the right expression that the director wanted. On the fourth film, there's a very big underwater scene where Harry had to do a lot of underwater swimming, so that was a very good experience. And the tank that was built for that scene, we reused again. There's a technical aspect to shooting things, so they worked in underwater environments. In this instance, we maintained the idea of using a lot of interactive light to motivate a lot of the effects that we use later. So, for instance, when the firestorm happens above the water, we used interactive light under the water so that you felt that there was an orange glow on Harry's face whilst he was actually escaping from the inferi. That's something that we were using above water as well as underwater, but the actual look of the environment underwater we very much developed in the computer. We developed the depth that you could see the cave walls and the fact that all of this environment was made of bodies, basically. A concept that we developed and sort of really brought to life in the actual computer itself.
Impossible obstacles and insurmountable odds, our cast faces their biggest challenge yet. To see if they can remember their character's storyline from the last 6 films. They thought it would be easy, but then they heard it had to be done in 60 seconds. Let the challenge begin!
They started out pretty small part, kind of jokesters. Fred and George were really just messing around with their mum's head.
I'm only joking. I am Fred.
The second film was much the same, and they played a lot of Quidditch and had a good time with it, I think. And we also saw them at home with the Weasley family.
Morning, Weasleys!
The third film was when they discovered the Marauders map and gave it to Harry.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day. Brilliant.
The fourth film, they decided to take a load of bets at the Triwizard Tournament, and they had very long hair at that point. And also Harry gave them the money from the Triwizard Tournament, which he didn't want in the time, which they put into money which goes into the fifth film, where they decided to develop all these sweets and try them out on different kids.
Care for another?
They get more rebellious and decide to leave school because they'd had enough of Umbridge rule. Then in the sixth film, which we're doing now, they decide to open up their shop with the money what Harry gave them and also the products what they sold in the fifth film. And this is where we are at the moment. They're entrepreneurs.
So Ginny Weasley first gets introduced with Harry on the platform.
Walk straight at the wall between platforms 9 and 10. Good luck.
And Ginny Weasley is part of a really, really big family with loads of brothers, and she's the youngest. And then she kind of starts to like Harry.
Hello.
That dies down, and then she gets taken over by Lord Voldemort in the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, Ginny, please don't be dead. Wake up! Wake up!
She won't wake. As poor Ginny grows weaker, I grow stronger.
And then she goes in Dumbledore's army.
Reducto!
And then she goes to the Ministry of Magic.
Reducto!
And now here she is with kind of becoming Harry Potter's love interest.
Harry thinks he's a normal boy, but he's not. He's a wizard. He's always had these magical powers, and he thought, but he didn't know what they were. He just thought he was a bit freaky. And then one day, a massive bloke called Hagrid arrived and said, hey.
You're a wizard, Harry, and a thumping good I'd wager.
And it all started from there. And he left his horrible family from before and went into the magical world, which he thought was going to be brilliant, and it was for a while. And he seemed to take to it very, very well. And he's very, very good at it. Meets Ron and Hermione, and they're his best friends, and they're great. And meets Dumbledore and Sirius. Then it turned a bit nasty when he realised there was a bloke out to kill him, killed Voldemort.
Stop.
And so then he sets out on a journey to try and kill Voldemort, and it sort of goes on from there. People die, there's lots of bloodshed and gore, but there's all sorts of happy things and laughs, and love and a bit of teenage romance and puberty and hormones, and it's just generally brilliant. Ron on the train on the way to Hogwarts, he meets Harry.
I'm Ron, by the way. Ron Weasley.
Sort of this big battle at the end. And this one, Ron's sort of a bit cocky. He's got a girlfriend. He's on the Quidditch team, and yeah, that's it. Did it? Yeah.
We start with Draco. He's a very evil and jealous child of Harry and all the limelight he's getting.
Saint Potter. And people actually think that he's the heir of Slytherin?
He just gets more jealous as the years go on and slightly more childish.
Dementor, Dementor!
Draco has a very painful father who put him through a lot in his childhood.
Don't boast, Draco. There's no need with these people.
Slowly he gets to the 5th, 6th film and he realises that he wants a piece of the action, so he tries to be the Harry Potter of the dark side, if you will. Don't you understand? I have to do this. He fails miserably, and then he's ashamed for what he's done, so we shall see what's yet to happen for the character.
Hermione Granger.
Oculus Reparo.
Born to dentist parents, quite strict, kind of brought up quite well, very academic, kind of nerdy, kind of geeky, doesn't really fit in. Then eventually they accept her and she becomes friends with Harry and Ron, and she helps Harry through all the devil's snare, and she comes up with the right answer, and she's just really clever, and so she's great. Ace team member, she keeps it cool when it's stressful. She gets petrified, she gets like frozen by the basilisk. Then 3rd film, she punches Malfoy, she's really like girl powery.
That felt good.
She's got the time turner, she can go back and forward in time. That's really cool. She really loves Buckbeak, she really saves the day. 4th one, Victor Crumb, he comes very kind of handsome, Bulgarian bonbon. She wears a pretty dress, that's meant to be like her big moment. Ron ruins her night, and really that she wishes that he'd asked her, but he doesn't get that, so he just ruins the whole thing for her anyway. She cries on the steps, it's really tragic. Next one, she starts up Dumbledore's army, and she encourages Harry to stop being such an angry teenage boy and do something with his life.
Expelliarmus!
And make things better for everyone else. This one, she really is starting to like Ron at this point and thinks that something's going to happen with them, and he breaks her heart by going and snogging this really annoying, giggly, stupid girl who likes pink called Lavender. She's pretending that she doesn't care when she really does, and that's really bad, and that's about it. Is that okay?